before I talk. I get emotional, the words come out all wrong.
Hey everybody, welcome back. So for today's video, I am sitting down at a very late date. I am sitting down to film this at just gone midnight on Saturday the 29th. So I've still got the bunting up. I'm trying to milk it for as long as possible because I don't want to put them down. I know I'm going to have to, but hopefully my next couple of videos will be still acceptable to have this bunting up. But I just wanted to start this video by saying a massive thank you for hitting 1,000 subscribers. The more I say it, the more it's starting to sink in, but it still feels crazy. Like, I feel overwhelmed, and the amount of people that have said congratulations and just messaged me and commented on my videos has been so lovely. So thank you so very much. It's such a way to start the new year and I am so grateful. To start this video off, I am going to be talking about the products that haven't quite cut it for me this year, the products that I haven't really loved or products that just haven't worked for me. Now some of these products I've had for ages but I haven't really used except this year, and that's when they've really stood out as fails for me or just disappointments in general. Now I'm not trying to say that these brands are awful, because 99% of the brands mentioned I love the majority of the products I've had from them, but there is always a few products out of a whole bunch that aren't gonna get on with you. So yeah, but I'm very excited to get into this because it's very late and I want to go back and finish watching the Marvel movie with my mum that we're watching. So yeah, without further ado, let's get on to the palette. Is one that I've mentioned before that I just haven't got on with, and it's the Primark Ice Metals eyeshadow palette. Now this just was a complete and utter It was a complete and utter fail for me. I just didn't get on with this. The pigmentation just wasn't there. The quality on my eyes just was not good enough. I found them really patchy and really hard to blend, and that came as a shock to me because recently the eyeshadow palettes I've been trying, or the eyeshadows in general from Primark, have been amazing, but this one just didn't make it for me. So I'll be giving this away to Dawn or someone so they can give it a go, but it's not staying with me unfortunately because it just isn't my cup of tea. Primark eyeshadow palette that hasn't worked for me is the Primark Rose Quartz eyeshadow palette. Now this is a very clear dupe, or the packaging is, for Huda Beauty. Now the palette originally looked amazing. I was like, oh my goodness, I had to have it. It was the first big eyeshadow palette that I'd seen from Primark. It had a really nice matte black shade, which is rare to have that good a quality in such a cheap palette, but the swatches were enough to put me off. Now I know you might say you need to try it on your eyes, but I'm just not even going to test it because that might sound really bad and really lazy, but I've got so many alternatives to this that are a lot smaller and don't take as much room, that are just, in my opinion, so much better from the swatches alone, let alone to what they look like on your eyes. So I was thinking, because I've hit 1,000 subscribers, which means my giveaway is pending, I was thinking about including this as an extra because I have not used this on my eyes. I have only swatched it. Obviously this won't be a proper giveaway gift, if that makes sense, because it is pre-owned by me, but if you wouldn't mind this being in the giveaway, then let me know in the comments below. If you'd rather it wasn't and just I give it away to someone else I know, then that is absolutely fine. I completely respect that. But when I did my makeup declutter, there are brand new things that are sealed that haven't been touched that are in the giveaway, because I just feel like I don't want to waste them, and what better way to help fill up the giveaway basket, because I have got some glitters coming from one of my favourite little glitter brands that I cannot wait to show you, because they will be involved in the giveaway too, and they have very kindly said that they will collaborate on my giveaway, which is insane. But yeah, going back onto this just wasn't for me. So if you don't mind this being in the giveaway, let me know. But if any of you don't want it included in the giveaway as an extra, then that is absolutely fine. I'll just give it to Dawn or someone. I am just as shocked as you may be about this palette, but this is the Revolution Reloaded Iconic Division. Now, it's a very different palette to what I would normally go for. It's very green toned, but I wanted it because it's a dupe for the Anastasia Subculture. Now, I've got the W7 on the Rocks palette, which is also a dupe for the Anastasia Subculture. So in my declutter video, I compared the pigmentation, and this one was nowhere near as pigmented as the W7 on the Rocks palette. This green shimmer in particular was shockingly crappily pigmented. Not that that made any sense, but the pigmentation just was not there compared to the W7 I the W7 on the Rocks palette, that their green shimmer had so much more pigmentation, and I just thought, you know what, that is a sign. I've never gravitated towards this, and it is cracked, it's broken, and it's just not my favourite. So I will be giving this away to one of my friends or family that want it, because just it was such a disappointment to me. I have tried this on my eyes, and to be honest, it's just nothing special. I was expecting it to stand out because it's a green palette, and I don't tend to go for green eyes, but green eye looks, but it just, nah. Palettes that didn't make it for me this year is the Technic Colour Fix. Now this was just an ultimate disappointment when I bought this, because I haven't even tried it on my face, because I know there is no point, because I have tried contour pressed palettes like this sort of shades, and they have just failed for me massively. And it was so cheap, it doesn't faze me at all. So this will be going to one of my friends or family. So yeah, just the powders are way too ashy and not my shades at all. And these shades here, except for this banana pressed powder here, which isn't very banana-y, may I just say, and it doesn't blend properly in my opinion, the rest of them look identical. There are no highlighters in this, they are all matte powders, and on the website it described there being some shimmer highlighters in this. There aren't any shimmer highlighters, so that was just a big no-no. The next one is this W7 Strobe Time. Now I was going to save this for a full face of first impressions, but I just couldn't wait because it looked too nice, and I just was so underwhelmed by it. Now these highlighters these ones are supposed to be their sort of like highlighters and strobes, and I just didn't like it. And I think the blush, because it's sort of like got an iridescent undertone to it, it just really didn't complement my skin tone at all. And I do want to get into blush in a way, because the natural sort of peachy tone blushes are so my colour. They really give me like a natural flush in a good way. This palette just didn't work for me. The highlighters weren't that nice. The bronzer's way too metallic for my liking. And this will be going to a much more loving home, because it didn't work. It's also going in the giveaway if people don't mind, because this is pretty much so full, and I've only used it once or twice to know it just isn't for me, and it's the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. Now this has so much hype. This is the travel size, limited edition Christmas packaging, and it was just so not good for me. It just didn't suit my skin. I feel like it clogged up my pores and caked on my makeup if anything, and the Revolution Fixing Spray, which is only £5, does the most amazing job. I've had this makeup on since about 12 in the afternoon, and it's like 11 hours later, like 13 hours later, and it still looks okay. Like, don't get me wrong, it's caked around my fine lines and stuff, but it doesn't look as bad as it could do. This it was so overhyped. I think it's so overpriced, and once again, if you're okay with this being as an extra in the giveaway, then let me know. But if you'd rather it not, then I'll give it to one of my family friends or something. Mascaras that were a big disappointment to me. Now I used to love the W7 Absolute Lashes, and unfortunately time moves on. My mascara needs move on and develop, and this mascara just so isn't for me. This is a very clear dupe of the Benefit They're Real, and the wand is practically identical, the packaging is practically identical. The finish, I don't know whether it's identical or not, but I don't like how thin this makes my lashes. If you like very thin, very defined lashes, then this is definitely something you should try, but I much prefer thicker, volumized lashes. So, you know, I bought this because I knew I used to love it, and I just wanted to give it a go again, but it's not for me. Obviously I will not be giving this to anyone because it's quite old now and it's been open a while, so this will unfortunately be going in the bin. And the other W7 mascara that was a miss for me was the W7 Big Lash. Now the wand gave me high hopes, and I do want to try and use this up because I don't really like wasting makeup products, especially if they're mascaras, because I know I can't give them to anyone. Because it wasn't like awful, it just was a disappointment and a letdown, because when it says Big Lash, to me that makes me think volumized thick lashes. Now I know you can't necessarily expect a lot because it's so cheap, but you know what, that's no excuse for W7, because they're just a really affordable cheap brand to turn to, with loads of affordable dupes and alternatives to higher end products, and they still have the quality the majority of the time. I found loads of W7 things, especially their newer formulated, and like they're more recent products and they're reformulated palettes and stuff. I find them incredible, and they're under £5, some of them. But this just didn't work for me. It wasn't what I expected, and it's not what I look for in a mascara. However, I'll be using it for work and things, because I don't need thick lashes for work, do you know what I mean? So I can use this up for when I'm doing my work makeup routine and whatever, just so I can use it up and so it's not wasted. I love the packaging though, but the actual product just wasn't what I was expecting. More W7 products that let me down were the W7 I Got the Power Eyeshadow Primer. Now I think I mentioned this in previous makeup looks. I cannot stand this product at all. I think the consistency is horrible, it is horrendous, it feels disgusting, it cakes up on my eyelids and it separates. It really affects the application of my eyeshadow. I prefer, and I definitely recommend, the e.l.f. eyeshadow primer over this if you want a actual eye primer. I now use concealer because I feel like it gives me more coverage, because I find that I've got quite veiny eyelids, and no eye primer, even the e.l.f. one, seems to cover them up properly. But if you want an actual eye primer, then definitely try out the e.l.f. one, because that's only £3 and it lasts ages and it is a really good base. And this is the W7A While Absent Without Lipstick Lip Colour Remover. Now I bought this from Fragrance Direct, I believe, I can't remember, I haven't had it that long, but it's still a disappointing product for me because it stung when I swatched it, and then I did try it on my lips to get a lip tint off, and oh my gosh, it stung like hell. This just wasn't good. So I don't know whether it's supposed to sting, but it was so uncomfortable. I felt like I'd eaten like a million chilies that were like slapped on my lips. It was horrible. So yeah, this is going straight in the bin. I'm not giving this to anyone. It's such a shame. The concept seemed quite cool, but it is a dud to me. I just don't like it. Oh, it makes my lips tingle. So last two things. This is the Collection Fast Brow Tinted Brow Gel. Now I bought this when I was with Malika, and Malika's going to be watching this no doubt going, I told you so, and I'll let you have that moment. This is what the gel looks like. I was going on a bit of a fanatic spree in London. I just went to the Boots in Piccadilly and I bought quite a few Collection brow products, which I've got the majority of, except this one. I don't know what I was thinking. The applicator just terrifies me. Like, what the heck? I tried a little bit on my brows and I was like, no, not my colour. That is not my colour. Now I know when you tint your brows you want it to be a bit darker and a bit more defined. That this product does not give it to you, unless I'm using it wrong. But to be honest, with how cheap it was, I don't mind. And it says 1-step semi-permanent wear. I'm like, I don't want this any kind of permanent on my eyebrows, so this is a no-go. But if you do want to try a cheap alternative to having your eyebrows tinted by a professional, by all means give this a go, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it unless you want to find a cheap alternative to go into a salon. But I didn't like it. And the last thing is this Primark Pure Liquid Highlighter in the shade, what shade are you in? Thunder. Now, the packaging for this is gorgeous. It is frosted glass for Primark. That's luxurious. This was like £4 or £5, so it's quite pricey. I bought this because the Pure range was based of being a dupe of the Fenty Beauty makeup range by Rihanna. So I was like all for it. I love the eyeshadow palette. I love the highlighter. They are gorgeous products. This highlighter, the liquid highlighter they did, not such a fan. I don't tend to get on with liquid highlighters, and this was no different. It just caked on my face. It was like a stripe, whereas powders I feel go on so much smoother and they don't necessarily look like so much of a stripe. This I found very hard to blend and I just didn't get on with it. So there's not much more for me to say about it, except I wouldn't recommend it and I don't like it. That is everything for this disappointing products of 2018. I hope I didn't offend anyone. If you've seen any of the products in here that you love, it's just personal opinion. Everything works different for everybody, so I hope you understand that. But yeah, coming up next will be my best of beauty. I thought if you get the worst out the way first, then, you know, it can only get better. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But once again, thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. It's crazy. And keep your eyes peeled for my giveaway video, which will be coming in the new year. So thank you so much for all your support through 2018. And here's to 2019. I am so excited for what it brings. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next vlog or video, whichever one you watch first.
Get emotional, the words come out all wrong.